Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We are live. It is Friday night. I'm excited. We have a great guest in the second hour of the show. But who am I? I'm just merely your host, Chris Dohmen. About to start coming down with a cold. I don't appreciate this at all.
Oh, no.
But I made sure that I took a hot shower. I did a nice, lovely salt water gargle before we went live, and I got some tea, which is still piping hot right here. But you know, we're still here. We're still gonna have a fun time. And of course, I'm not here alone. I've got my usual co-host, Kees Cornelisse. Kees, what's up, man? How's your week been?
My week has been relaxing, I'd say. It was nice. Watched my second favorite movie of last year twice yesterday because Into Spider-Verse is just that great, and I finally have there's a digital available now, so that was awesome. And yeah, here to enjoy hopefully a good show.
I definitely think it'll be a good show, and you know, something I'm very much looking forward to is talking about a little game from 2003 once again that you and I both really enjoy with a completely different guest this time. You know, and it's something that's definitely been keeping me up, and I think I know why I'm starting to get this cold, because I haven't gotten a lot of sleep this week. But someone else on the call who hasn't gotten a lot of sleep this last week, and for a very good reason, Nico Regoli. Dude, what's up? How you doing tonight? How was your weekend at Thon?
Oh, very sleepless. But, you know, I pushed through, and yeah, we did a lot of great work down at the BJC, the Bryce Jordan Center in State College, PA.
Nice.
I personally, my final total was $7,072.
Woohoo!
Penn State, New Kensington raised almost $30,000 before the deadline, and then we broke the deadline. We broke our goal after the deadline. So,
hold on. So did that still count, or?
Well, I mean, it's still going to charity. The money
True.
is still going to charity. It's just we were $100 short of reaching our $30,000 goal before the deadline of 12:01 Sunday morning.
Okay.
We still raised a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
We got on the top 10. We were number 10 on the top 10 Commonwealth fundraisers list.
Nice.
out of all the campuses. And in total, as in combining all 20 campuses and other organizations that are part of Thon,
yeah,
we raised $10.6 million.
Fuck, dude, that's incredible. Like, I obviously, you know, I wasn't able to give that as much financial as I would have liked. But I was just happy that, you know, I could have helped you in any ways with this. So, dude, once again, congratulations. And to everybody who was one of the, you know, raisers for the Thon Fund, congratulations to all of you across the board. And as I think you mentioned in your What's Next video, you got some guts, kid. But I think you can pull it off.
I think I can pull it off too. Listen, I've done some crazy things before. I think nobody will deny me when I say that I've done some crazy things. But you know, if I have the ambition to raise $10,000 next year, and if I have the ambition to make Trivia for Thon an annual event, let alone an annual Schmoedown event, to make it the fourth of the big four that the Schmoedown events have had so far, I feel like I'm the guy who can do it.
Maybe.
And I'm at least willing to try. Whereas others would just be like, now just sit back and wait my time. But no, I want to push this. I want to push it through and see if I can make it actually happen.
Well, and obviously, as you know, as I said, Case and I are both very proud of your accomplishments. Because, dude,
Yes.
you.
And thanks for including me in the event.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, thanks for the shout out in the What's Next video. So, that being said, you might notice the thumbnail that you saw in the chat room before we went live. Hello, everybody. Sound off in the chat who we got. And then also, so again, you see the thumbnail. And sure, a couple weeks back, we had Joe Finley from the Miscast Commentary Podcast to talk about Knights of the Old Republic. But you want to know something? I don't care how many people Case and I have to talk to about that game, because you want to know something? It's just delightful. So we'll be very honored on the second hour to be joined by Kevin Smets, who made his Schmoedown InnerGeekDom debut earlier this week. And, of course, we're going to talk to him a lot about that. And maybe he can answer some questions for me about who this Kaiser guy is. Is he anything like Kaiser Soze in Usual Suspects, or is this just like, a friend of his who's like his personal hype man? But that being said, let's dive into some news. Cool guy, Jonathan Peck, I see you guys in there. Hello, welcome to the chat. Darth Yeesey, that's a great question you ask. Why is Malik sniffing Kevin's shoulder? And I just like to think it's because, Kevin just smells good. And if that's the case, what's wrong with that? Why can't a dude just smell good? Like, I just stepped out of the shower and I smell like, a fresh field of daisies or something. But let's break open the news.
Okay, so we start our show with you describing how things smell. Awesome.
Well, and doubly ironic because I can barely smell. So, how perfect. How perfect. Doubly so because now I'm starting to get sick. But whatever. What are you going to do? All right. So, sure, I can't really smell that well. But at least I have the ability to speak. Which I think we can safely say was not the case of the characters of one of my favorite films of last year. Case, I know this was one of your favorite films last year. And Nico, I don't know if you saw A Quiet Place.
Nah, because it's a horror film and Pittsburghers are associated with the Schmoedown. I'm mostly afraid of everything.
Not. Look, I despise horror films. It is my fourth favorite movie of last year. It is not a horror film.
Fair enough.
So, watch it.
Yes, please watch it. Random Rock and Reel Riffs and Reviews, welcome to the chat. Happy to see you here, man. All right, but why would I bring that up? Because we already knew that there was A Quiet Place 2 in development. John Krasinski did write the script for both films now, but the added bonus, he is officially back, signed on to direct his own sequel, and I'm stoked. I'm so happy about this. Because he brought us a really creative, really fun and suspenseful horror-ish flick that I really enjoyed. And so Case, what are your thoughts on, given your appraisal, are you happy to see Krasinski back in directing, or do you wish maybe he'd given it to someone else?
Look, Krasinski did a phenomenal job with the movie. I just wonder where they will take the story, because I don't know if there's much story to tell after the first one. Might be just me. Because that first one was a one-and-done thing, I think. It's just because of the immense success of the movie that they want to make a sequel, because this is Hollywood, sequelitis, and I don't really like that. That's the thing. It seems to me a little bit like a cash grab. So I'm like, no.
Could
really
be.
No, yeah, could be, but that's what it seems like to me. Like, I am sure Krasinski has something good, because that he really did a great job with that first one, and the fact that the movie's not nominated for more than just sound editing is a crime. Honestly, that movie should be nominated for more. But yeah, I really don't know what there is in terms of story to tell, because I think we're done with it. I might be wrong. We'll see.
Well, and that's the thing. So let's play a little hypothetical here then, real fast. So let's say we find out that, instead of focusing back on the family from the first film, maybe Krasinski now wants to go to a different part of the world and show how they're handling this alien invasion. Like, if that's what we're getting, then I'm on board. I'm 100% on board.
That could work. Yes.
And I feel like Krasinski is a smart enough writer based on his work from the first film alone, that should be what we get. I hope it's what we get. But will it be? I don't know.
Because that's the thing. The first one just really focuses on the one family, and we only really see one guy at one point, and he gets killed pretty fast. So yeah, in terms of that first movie, yeah, we don't see a lot of the world. If we see more of the world dealing with the situation, that would be interesting. But yeah, I don't think you can really continue with the family because it's pretty much done, in my opinion.
Pretty much. You know, no spoilers, but yeah, pretty much done. Nico, so would you like me to just move on to the next story, or do you have any thoughts about Krasinski coming off of the success of his directorial debut in the same franchise?
So my 2 cents is I would like to see the opposite of A Quiet Place. I would like to see the movie A Loud Place, where basically everyone in the movie is making as much noise as humanly possible, and the moment there's no noise at all, that's when the aliens strike. Like, you have to be super loud to keep the aliens away, and then there's just the slightest bit of quiet. That's when they go for you.
But that's like
funny.
That's like most horror films, though.
Yeah. No. Most horror films, yeah, they make sound, and you shouldn't, but they still do. In A Quiet Place, they're actually smart about it.
Yes.
That's kind of why I like it.
But I'm saying noise is what keeps them away.
Well, okay. Then, to be fair, actually, the real trope is there's a loud noise, like there's like a party going on, and then it's always the 1 to 2 people who go sneaking off from the party, whether it's because they're too drunk, or they're trying to pass out, or they're about to have sex, or whatever, and they're the ones who get
usually
killed.
When they have sex.
So I basically just pitched a movie that I'm not going to want to see because that classifies as a horror film.
Yes,
but it'll be dumb fun, which is what a lot of horror films are, Nico. Just give it a chance.
I mean, there are like 11 Friday the 13th movies or something.
And
they're all dumb fun.
And most of them are glorious.
But they're all bad.
Yes, they are.
So that's your dumb fun right there.
Exactly. Like, there's barely a genuine scare in that entire franchise. But we're not here to talk about Friday the 13th. We're here to continue on by talking about a little trailer that dropped that I'm actually very happy about. I'm very stoked for it. I wish I'd remembered to set up my piano into the stream so that way you guys could just hear me just start to play a little bit of Tiny Dancer. The Rocket Man trailer has dropped, and oh my god. Who knew Taron Egerton could actually sing? Granted, I know he
wasn't sing,
but nobody saw that. Let's be fair.
This is true. Okay, no, I did. I watched about 20 minutes of it and I walked out because it was garbage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really don't know what else to say because, like, yes, obviously this movie is to Elton John what Bohemian Rhapsody was to Freddie Mercury, as is The Dirt, the upcoming Netflix film, will be for Motley Crue, which, yes, super excited for that. But, Nico, I watched you react to this trailer. What is it about the trailer that you love so much?
Well, there's a personal connection. First of all, my parents were very big Elton John fans, and so
he's still alive.
One of the well, yes, but my dad is not, so therefore,
right.
Hence the past tense.
Right.
But yeah, I so anytime they would play music of Elton John's, I would jam out to it too. Elton John was a guest a few times on The Muppet Show, which is a classic TV show. It's a classic TV show I'm a big fan of. And yeah, Elton John, I believe, even once made an appearance on Bob the Builder when I was just a very young child.
I remember this.
Yes, the Christmas special. So yeah, Elton John has been a big figure in terms of music in my life. And I'm very excited to see this movie. I think it's going to go a little darker in tone than Bohemian Rhapsody did, to an extent. But that's just because, like, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, it showed a little bit of drama in Freddie Mercury's life, but for the most part, it was positive. Elton John, he's still alive, as you said. So what the negative to positive ratio of how much they're going to show of his life up in the air. But I feel like they're going to go. I feel like Elton John is more willing to open up to the world as to who he is. So therefore, we might see more of the demons he's faced throughout his career.
Yeah, and guys in the chat, let us know what you guys thought of the trailer, because across the board, well, so far across the board, we liked it. Kees, now because you have a little bit less exposure to Elton John than us, but your exposure to him,
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Same story as Nico. My mom loves Elton John. I've heard a lot of his songs.
Oh,
I just don't remember a lot of his songs because I haven't listened to it in a while. So
that's fair.
Don't make these assumptions.
I was just saying because you're a huge Lion King fan, okay? Sorry.
Yes, that's true. And he made a phenomenal soundtrack for the movie, by the way, because I love most of those songs. Yeah, I think Elton John is definitely a music icon that I think everyone knows. And yeah, I know most because of his work on The Lion King, but I do know other songs. I just can never remember what they're called because my mom used to just listen to them on CD or radio, and I just never figured that out when I was a kid. But look, Taron Egerton has been making some bad mistakes recently. Kingsman 2 was one. Robin Hood was another. However, the first Kingsman showed that he can act. Eddie the Eagle, which nobody saw, but please, for the love of God, do, because that movie is so great. And Taron Egerton is phenomenal in it. So, like, he can act just as long as he has a good director and a good screenplay that he can work with. And I think that this movie looks like that. And I really do think, while he might not look the most like Elton John, I think they did enough to make him look like the part. And then it's up to Taron Egerton, of course, to act the part as well. But I think he can do that. I think this trailer looks really good. It did give me the feel of the Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a movie I love. So please, I'm very much looking forward to this.
I was about to say, plus, he really captured a lot of Elton's mannerisms, just like Rami Malek did brilliantly in Bohemian Rhapsody. And yes,
that's the reason why he's going to win the Oscar. Most
likely. I mean, there is a chance for an upset, but until we get there. So, as we move on to our next story, Kees, one of your favorite movies of all time is a little film from 2007 called The Bourne Ultimatum, right?
Yeah, it's in my top 50.
Yeah. So, if I told you that, sadly, Bond 25 got halted again, but for the reason...
What else is new?
I know, what else is new? Ugh. But if this time, the good news we got as a result of it was that the screenwriter of Bourne Ultimatum is now coming on to do rewrites and to actually fix up the script. Does that excite you?
Does a bear, you know, the creature a bear, shit, as in take a dump in the woods? I mean, come on! Look, it's Bond and it's Bourne. Two things that I really do love. At least I love the first three Bourne movies. We do not talk about the other ones. And then there's Bond, which is a very long-running franchise that I've watched way too much, probably because there are a couple garbage movies in there. Now, to be fair, there has been one movie that is very much like James Bond does Bourne, and it's garbage because it's called Quantum of Solace.
Yes.
So, yeah. And that, yeah, it really shows. They tried to do Bourne there, and it just didn't work. But I think that if you have the writer of the Bourne Ultimatum knows how to just write a good, exciting, thrilling screenplay with good action sequences in there, I think that could really help this new Bond movie, because I'm okay with Skyfall. I don't hate it. I want to say I don't hate it. I'm more against the people who love it so much, because I'm like, I really don't see it. But like, I'm okay with Skyfall. I like Spectre, but yeah, since 2006 there hasn't been a great Bond movie. I mean, so I'm like, I want Bond to be great again. and we haven't had that in a while. So I hope that with screenwriter, no,
Sorry.
no.
Sorry.
I just hope that with this screenwriter and whoever the hell is going to direct it, I've lost track at this point. I just hope that they can make a good Bond movie, which is a good final movie for Craig because he deserves it. I think.
Absolutely. I mean, is he anywhere? Is he in my top 3 James Bonds? No, but the films of his that I like, I really like, and I want him to go out on the best possible swan song. And considering this guy also did a lot of uncredited work on a little film called Rogue One. Ever heard of it?
Nah, no clue.
I think this is just it's one small step back to take 3 big steps forward. So, Mon 25, like, okay, fine. You need to hit the brakes for a moment. Fine, but don't take too much longer, please. We're getting a little impatient here.
I want my Bond movie.
Please, I want my Bond movie as well. Jonathan Peck, good to see you as always, man. And actually, he brings an interesting fun fact about Rocket Man. Before Taron Egerton was cast as Elton John, you want to take a wild guess who was supposed to play him originally?
I have no clue.
Tom Hardy.
That would not work, I think.
That would not work, but that would sure be interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when Rock was young. Me and Susie had so much fun. I'm just trying to picture him as Mad Max trying to play Elton John.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Can you imagine?
Still out here alone.
You got Venom singing backup, just out of its back.
Like a turd in the wind. All right.
Look. Tom Hardy is one of my favorite actors working today, but no, that would not work.
No, it would not work at all. At all. Much like a certain trailer that dropped this week.
Why did it? Why is this a thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's rant time! Woo!
I don't have my popcorn. Damn it.
Okay. So in 2016, a forgettable little film called The Angry Birds came out, which is based off of the app of the same name. This movie sucks.
Yes.
But the thing is, I forget. It's so forgettable, luckily, because if you ask me who was in it,
Jason Sudeikis.
I already forgot he was in it.
Josh Gad.
Oh God. I'm sad for you that you remember these things, Case.
No, I just saw the cast list today and remember. Oh, right, they were in the first one.
Oh yeah.
Why did they make those decisions?
Why? I mean, none of them were funny, and none of them are gonna be funny this time around because this fucking trailer that starts off by using Ice Ice Baby. You couldn't even. Okay. I'm a defender of that song, but please don't use it for an ice-based pun. You lazy writers.
That was the only point of them using that song. There was no other point to use that song.
Hell, I almost feel like they might as well have just done like "Let It Go" or something, some other sort of snow-related song, to promote this trailer. But yeah. Angry Birds 2, why is it a thing? Let's move on.
Look.
Okay.
The first, I saw the first one in theaters.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of movies in theaters in 2016, and a lot of bad ones at that. It's not the worst movie of 2016 because it doesn't do anything that is necessarily, like, absolute garbage that you want to hate, and it's like, oh, please just throw it in the garbage and burn it. It's not necessarily like that. It's decently well animated. The voice acting is okay. The plot is sure. It's based off Angry Birds, and you do kind of get Angry Birds. Is it stupid? Is it bad? Yes, all of that. But the first one is not as harmful. I just think that no one really gave a fuck about that first one for there to warrant a second one. The only reason the first one made money is because everyone likes the app, and it was a good distraction for kids. Because yeah, I mean, the game Angry Birds was a huge thing when it came out, and a lot of people played it, so a lot of people know it. So that's probably why people went to see that first movie. But then no one really wants a second movie to that because fuck this shit. Why? Why is this a thing? I don't get it. Like, why does Hollywood insist on making movies simply because, oh, the first one was successful and made money? Fuck you. God, I'm done.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So,
Nico, you know what? Here, try to save the conversation.
so I watched the first movie on Netflix because a certain fan league that we no longer like to talk about that much in public used to have video game movies as a category for inner geekdom. So I had to watch it to study it. And I didn't think it was that bad. Didn't think it was the greatest movie I had ever seen either, but I thought, there might be a slight charm to it. But to Chris's point, it's not that memorable. Like, I've forgotten a lot of what happened in that movie. So even if I found it slightly charming as I watched it, it obviously didn't leave a strong enough impact for me to remember everything I had seen. And now we're here at the second one, and it'll probably be the same scenario. I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix and maybe just give it a watch then if I'm bored. But Case brought up an interesting point. The movie was made in the first place because of the app's success. Does anyone still play the app?
No.
No.
So I'm just trying to figure out where.
Yeah, and they tried to keep it relevant with making Angry Birds Holiday Special and Angry Birds Star Wars, which are all just not that great. It's why are you trying to keep relevant? It's stupid.
Because
wasn't there a Fruit Ninja movie Wasn't there a Fruit Ninja movie in development? Where did that go?
Yeah, but luckily everyone realized how fucking stupid that idea is, and they just said, nope. I mean, shit, apparently there's still a Tetris trilogy in development, but they haven't bothered getting Mark Ellis to play the main character because he's the greatest player of all time. So you might as well stop. You might as well stop now. Just stop. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I haven't seen him play Tetris. All I know is that he brags about the fact that he's good.
I would say the cool guy actually brought up that he this is his experience with Angry Birds. He plays it once every 2 months, then gets bored of it and deletes it after a week and a half. Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone does with Angry Birds.
Yeah, it's sometimes like, oh yeah, that was kind of a fun game. Let's try that again. And it's like, okay, I 3-starred everything. Delete.
Yeah, no, not. It's like me trying to use Tinder. I swipe through about the first 20 girls, and then I'm just like, you know what? No. It's just not gonna happen.
Human interaction is nicer.
Yeah, but let's face facts. No, wait. I mean, shit. We're 3 people speaking to each other across Skype. I don't know if this necessarily counts as human interaction.
It's the most interaction I have. I kid.
And I thought my joke was dark.
I was just joking.
All right. Yeah, Nico, just take yourself out off screen. Okay. Well, now, to be fair, Case, you're not the only person who severely misspoke this week. As look, Jason Reitman, I think we need to have a chat. When you're trying to explain that you don't hate an attempted 2016 reboot of a franchise that your father started back in 1984, I know that you were not saying anything bad about the movie. But sadly, the way you phrased it gave all of the Twitter trolls all the ammo. So in that regard, sir, you done did fucked up.
Yeah, you did.
Because, look, I'm not excited at all for the Ghostbusters reboot. Am I going to go see it? Of course, because I'll probably have to write a review for it. Oh, shit, that reminds me. supposed to actually do a quick review for Fire for My Family at the end of the hour, and at the end of this hour.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So, okay. Is there any way he could have said what he was trying to say without the Twitter trolls coming at him?
No. Because people will always be dicks. People are dicks. Rule number 1 in life. People are stupid. Rule number 2 in life. But both are very applicable to this. It's like he made some comments, and there is no way that however he would phrase it, it would not be tied to that he might not like the 2016 one. Did anyone like the 2016 one? No, not really. It was not that good or memorable. I was okay with seeing it. But yeah, it's because it's because of what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say.
As a regular patient of foot and mouth disease, I come from an interesting perspective here, in that the 2016 reboot was my first Ghostbusters. Like, I had just I didn't feel that need to see the original two, and so like
honestly, they're okay.
Yeah.
But like it was a nice day with my family. We were like, let's go see the new Ghostbusters. Let's see how Melissa McCarthy and Leslie Jones do, and let's just have a few laughs. And for the most part, we did. It had some charm to it. Charm is a word I'm going to be using a lot for movies that didn't do that great, but I'll try to find reasons to like them regardless.
Oh, that's a way you can describe it.
Well, when I say it for this movie, though, I mean it way more than I do for Angry Birds, because like I did it in, but basically there was no way he could have said what he wanted to say in a way that would have kept his Twitter feed clean. What does it mean, though, to say giving it back to the fans? Like, which fans are you giving Ghostbusters back to?
Okay.
Did that 2016? Oh, you're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
for a second.
Well, it's just that a lot of 2016 or a lot of original Ghostbusters fans hated the 2016 version, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna make something that is a lot more like the original. Which, I mean, I get that, but yeah, the 2016 version, it was important for little girls. Like, I saw so many little girls cosplaying as the Ghostbusters that year. It was nuts. So yeah, it did have influence to like a big group of people, and because of that, all the people who know that and who actually like the 2016 Ghostbusters enough to see that, yeah, they fire off it.
Which
on Twitter.
It just, I mean, and let's be fair. The people who are, stupid and just ignorant enough to do that, I'm not using this term to besmirch this person, but I'm just using this as like sort of the figurehead, just to give a visual representation. All the Nick Mundys of the world, the people who say that Ghostbusters is this perfect film, that there's nothing wrong with it. It is absolutely it's perfect. Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not.
No, I mean
it's a fun movie, but not much more.
No,
and it's dated as hell.
It's extremely dated, and granted, like at least for me, that's a little bit of its charm. But where it loses me is actually the main characters. I don't like Venkman. I don't like Ray. Egon is fine, but Winston, he's the only person I care about. Oh, sorry, and Lewis, the Rick Moranis character. I do like him. But, it's just...
What about Sigourney Weaver?
Well, come on.
I was thinking. I was thinking, come on.
Come on. I mean, literally. So there was about a 30-year period where Sigourney Weaver could make no poor decisions.
No, it was the 80s.
And then Alien 3 happened. But
Yeah. And a lot of people still deny that, including the director.
yeah. Yeah. So like and I get it. There are people who are very passionate about that film. They're also very passionate about films like Back to the Future and, Goonies and
other movies we don't care about.
Exactly. Although to be fair, I do love Goonies, but that's like the exception to the rule. The E.T. fans. Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh God. Ugh.
Mike Carlson just felt a disturbance in the force.
Well, good, because I don't like I do not appreciate his humor, in all honesty. So, but that's enough of me going on a stupid pointless rant or stupid pointless tangent.
Yeah,
Look,
what was your point?
Yeah, so sorry. So my point was, there actually is a way he could have avoided it if he had just started off by saying, Paul Feig is a good friend of mine, and I really respect him and all the ladies who did what they did. But I'm making this film that continues what my father started. If he literally just
I will finish what you started.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Let the past die. Let the past die.
Kill it if you have to.
I don't know. This one actually clings on to the past. The 2016 one was more like let the past die.
Kind of. So, and it's one of those things where I just can't help but feel kind of bad for the guy because he was well-intentioned, but sadly, good intentions only do so much for you, and, well, he kind of dug his own grave on this one, in my opinion, sadly.
Little.
Yeah. So, yes, guys, not a fan of Ghostbusters, the original. Crucify me.
Yeah, same. Tweet at me.
Send us your tweets, as Gray Drake would say.
As Gray Drake would say, yeah.
God, where's she been? I miss her.
I don't. Sorry.
All right. Let's move on to the last news story, and then I'll do my quick review for Fighting With My Family, and then we'll go to break and be back for our main conversation with Mr. Kevin Smets. So, I think it's safe to say that the biggest star of this decade is now officially Michael B. Jordan. Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
At least one of the.
So, if I were to say that he was confirmed to be starring in a picture alongside the biggest star of the 90s and early 2000s, Denzel Washington, as director, what would you think? Nico, what would you think?
What's the script? What's the plot here?
All right, great question.
Yeah, what is this movie about?
So, okay. So, yes, so the actual story is Michael B. Jordan has just signed on to star in Denzel Washington's next film as director, which is an adaptation of the book A Journal for Jordan. And literally, it's a series of diary entries for a soldier who fought in Iraq, and sadly did not make it back home after he died from a car bomb, if I recall correctly. But it's essentially just of a bunch of random thoughts they kept together in a journal for his child. And so Michael B. Jordan would be playing that soldier, and Denzel Washington would be directing him. Now, as someone who's probably seen the most films directed by Denzel here, the dude knows how to work with actors, which is kind of obvious because, he's only got two Oscars himself. He knows how to work with actors very well.
And how many times has he been nominated?
Yeah. So even though this might not sound like the most interesting story of all time, though, Kees, you hear this premise. Are you thinking that this could have some potential?
It definitely has potential. I'm very curious as to the execution of how to do that because I do think like the idea there is an idea that could be executed well. You just need someone to write a good screenplay for that. And yeah, Denzel I think could do a good job with directing. I don't think I've seen any of his directorial movies. That's okay though.
Fences.
I have not seen Fences. That was the only Best Picture nominee that I
Oh, that's
skipped
right.
because
That's right.
I knew that I would not like that movie.
Fair.
So yeah, I haven't seen any of his directorial movies, nor really have I seen a lot of his movies that he's acted in. I just know the the guy is good. And I've seen like from what I have seen, I know yeah he will always give 100% on a movie, and he is very talented with it. So I'm excited for that. And of course, Michael B. Jordan. I rewatched Creed today. I despise most sports movies, and especially movies with fighting in them, because I honestly don't care for them. Sorry, not sorry. However, Creed is phenomenal, and Michael B. Jordan is one of the reasons that it is. He is so good, and he is so good in so many movies that I'm like, yeah, he is pretty much or at least one of the biggest stars of the 2010s. So, yes, please.
Yes. So now, Nico, that I have explained it a little bit better, does this sound like something that'd be up your alley, or not necessarily?
Um, it depends on what you mean by up my alley. I guess if you're asking, is this a movie that I would watch? I'm very curious now, having heard what it's about. I'm very interested to see how it looks on the big screen. And I don't know if this is a correct statistic, but I think this is like the first Michael B. Jordan project I've heard of in which it doesn't involve Josh Trank, Michael Kugler, or a franchise.
Right.
Michael Kugler, that's interesting. It's Ryan Kugler.
Oh, fuck.
That's okay. That's okay. Mistakes happen.
It's all right. I'm giving you a nice little pat on the shoulder from across my screen.
Wrestling guy tries to talk movies. Does not end well.
Hey, you do watch movies.
But the plot itself, that intrigues me. And Denzel, he's one of those guys that just you give him anything to do and he'll knock it out of the park. So I think this movie is going to be a success, and I look forward to when the first trailer drops so I can actually see how will it look visually, and will it be truly worth our time. And because right now it just sounds like it's worth our time, but I want to see it. I want to see it.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. And yeah, on the one hand, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Michael can do under Denzel's direction, but I'm also just a little bit worried that because, like, okay, if you just watch any movie with either Denzel Washington or Michael B. Jordan in it, their acting style is 110%. Every scene.
They give everything, yeah.
So, is it gonna be too much? That's the thing that I'm worried about. So, like, if we can maybe just peel back a couple layers of how deep both these guys tend to normally get, is that what's gonna save and or hurt the movie? So that's just what I'm personally worried about. But otherwise, I mean, this just sounds like something right up my alley. And I know that Ryan, once he's finally back on the fucking show next week,
hopefully,
Ryan, hope you're listening.
Probably not though, because he's way too swamped with other stuff.
That's true, because he actually has a girlfriend within driving distance of him, and he also. Yeah. And by the way, guys, this weekend he's over at he's doing drill, so he's off, doing his duty. So thank you, we salute you. But yeah, no, this the story could actually be really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Denzel and Michael can cook up together. And now, speaking of Nico, going back to your point about being the wrestling guy who talks movies or tries to talk movies, well, I'm about to be the guy, the movie guy who's going to try to talk wrestling for just a couple of minutes.
Are you going to talk about a wrestling movie?
Yes, I am. But there's still obviously a lot of wrestling to it, and that's really where a lot of my personal history kind of doesn't work, because the last wrestling match I really remember watching, I think it was Vince versus like Stone Cold for like the 5th time or something, and this would have been like 2001-ish. So I'm a little rusty on my history. It's been a while. See, back the last time I watched, Christian Harloff was a writer for the WWE. So I'm not caught up in any regard. But I am able to still talk about this new film called Fighting with My Family, directed by Stephen Merchant, also written by him, if I recall correctly, starring Florence Pugh as now WWE superstar Paige. Originally, she went by Brittany, but her real name is Saraya Knight. And I essentially the story is of how she grew up in a family of wrestlers. They had their own professional miniature league, which I think the three of us can all relate to that. Being part of an amateur sport before eventually potentially being called up to the real deal at some point. Which yes, big shock.
You
folks.
can dream, but it's not going to happen.
Yes.
God damn it, you pessimist.
I live on the wrong continent.
And actually, I don't know why I haven't gotten called up yet, but maybe just because I don't have enough money to afford the flights yet. Keyword being yet.
Nah, they hate you.
I know. As we're gonna have a Schmoedown competitor on the show in like 10 minutes, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, he's new. He doesn't know you yet.
That's true. That's true. And so of course, she and her brother are really good amateur wrestlers. Like, they go around to their local community and they teach a bunch of kids how to really get into it, so that way they can basically it keeps the kids off the streets, which is good. Hell, there's there's one kid who actually is starting to get caught up in drugs. But instead of doing that, what does the brother do? He starts having him wrestle to keep him out of trouble. Hell, they teach a blind kid how to wrestle. That's fun. That's actually really awesome.
Wait, what now?
Also, fun fact, that blind kid has now become a professional wrestler.
You just spoiled something really big for me. Damn it, I need to see this movie.
Yes, you
Because
do.
that wasn't in the documentary that this movie is based off of.
Well, I'm pretty sure that part was probably made up. So, but to be fair, that's also kind of where a lot of the fun comes in. And, of course, we have cameos from The Rock. Because, yeah.
He's in everything.
Please. He's in everything. The dude never sleeps. Teach me your ways, oh wise one. Teach me your ways. Nice try, Nico. Nice try.
I can't do the people's eyebrow.
No, I can't either. Vince Vaughn actually gives a great performance as sort of this amalgam of all of Paige's coaches when she finally does get called up to the WWE, but her brother does not. And so that creates a lot of tension that actually does get resolved in a good scene, but in my opinion should have been great. And then, of course, anybody who knows Paige, they know how she made her grand entrance into the ring in Raw, and then the rest is history. So to sum up, first thing I like a lot about this movie, the editing, fantastic. This is why I do actually appreciate movies like this, like The Fighter, like Warrior, because the editing is top-notch. The cinematography, not quite as good, but that's because of the setting. So, because you're in London, it's supposed to look a little bit more dark. It's supposed to look a little more bleak. but that's, to be expected from that area of the world. Lena Headey is wonderful as Paige's mom. Nick Frost.
She always is, though.
Yes, she is. Nick Frost is great as Paige's dad. I'm blanking on the name of the actor who plays the brother, but he also gives a great performance. And again, Vince Vaughn knocks it out of the park. Like this is the dramatic side of Vince Vaughn I like. So, in short, I do recommend this for non-WWE fans, but obviously, if you're a fan, this is required viewing. So, Nico, quit making excuses. You've seen How to Train Your Dragon before me. Screw you. Go see this movie.
I guess this is karma.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Karma
Very
is
much
a
so.
bitch in it.
It's a big old bitch. All right, Star Drew. Glad to see you in the chat, man. How you doing? But with that, guys, so yeah, final score 7 out of 10. Really good movie. Check it out. But now we are going to go to break as our guest is currently sitting in the green room, and we will be right back after this. Please, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Like, throughout the episode, I was really they clearly have it, and I want to see them together. But then Kaz lies to her, and Tora's like, "I know you. I know what you're doing, Chris."
I like that. Actually. Sorry, Nico. Goodbye.
Being classy. There it is.
Nice.
Thank you, man. That was awesome.
That is the champion. As we get round number one, the feel of both competitors. Trivia Galaxy. Each question is worth 1 point. There's no penalty for missing a question. There is no Steve.
I'm giving you a hug across my screen.
Yes.
You want to know what we did? We talked out our philosophies. please, everybody, give a big, big welcome to the one, the only, Kevin Smets. Kevin, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I just raced back. I was listening to you guys when I could when I was driving home, so it's an honor to be here. Congratulations. I'm pointing, like no one can see. I'm pointing at Nico. Nico, congratulations. I heard. So you hit the goal, right? Like not exactly midnight, but
I hit my personal goal, and I have you to thank for that because you gave me a donation and you helped spread the word around so that I could keep racking up all that money for the Four Diamonds Fund, and I thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course, man. That's inspiring. What a great cause you did. So anytime I can do something and give back, like I always appreciate that. And it's hard raising money and fundraising. I know how that can be. So I mean, the money you've raised is phenomenal. That's insane. So congratulations.
I was about to say, Kevin, you wouldn't have to happen to know like what that whole fundraising for a project you love works at all.
Well, aside from that, I've done a lot of work with Team in Training, and I was a coach for some of those Team in Training, and they raised money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and so thank you. It's nice, and it's as a coach, we would help people get to their fundraising goals, and so I know how it would be a struggle. It's hard to ask people for money, no matter how great the cause is. And so kudos to you again. The money you've raised is just phenomenal. So,
well, thank you so much. I'm very thankful for how you were able to help me out with that, and next year, I plan to raise $10,000 more, and hopefully I can do it on Schmoedown soil right next to you. So whatever.
Nice.
So hopefully my game will be up there, and hopefully there will be a wrestling trivia Schmoedown. So I'll actually warrant being there as opposed to just getting by.
They should totally do a wrestling one, and TV too. I think would be rad, at least for exhibition.
Oh boy.
I like this guy that much more already. Not that I didn't like you before. It's just now I love you that much more.
I don't know how you guys would study for it though. Like, I mean, I tell this to the people that like on singles all the time. I've said it to Chance when I've met him, and any of the competitors, even Rachel. I'll be like, I don't know how you guys study for every movie ever made. Like, I have a list. Like, I have a very specific way of studying, and my list is around 100. I think it's like 197. I have some that probably aren't on it, but like when there was a question for Sky High on one of Rachel's matches, that was like, all right, now I gotta watch Sky High, my super ex-girlfriend, Hancock, but there's a list. I still have a finite list. Like when they're talking every movie, I know the cuts are maybe not as deep, but like that's nuts to me. I don't know how they do it. So kudos to them. Maybe one day, but I know you guys all do it, right? Don't all of you guys do the regular singles?
No.
No.
I'm like you. I am InnerGeekDom. I am. Yeah. Do you see the posters?
Yeah. And that would be my forte. If I was in the Schmoedown, because I know way too much about movies for my own good.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I'm the guy
who. It's something. Yeah, I feel like it's something like. If I like these guys that are pros at it, like they've been watching movies their whole lives, not that I haven't, but like I was more leaning towards the geek movies. So like I wasn't like a connoisseur of film. So like when it comes to this, like they have that head start of before they even knew that the Schmoedown existed. They were probably we're probably watching movies for 10, 15 years before the league ever existed. And that carry that over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in my case, I was watching movies almost 20 years before the league existed, and I'm only 25, so I got started when I was really young, and I'm actually very grateful to my folks for doing that for me, because movies are what created my my sense of creativity, hence why I'm so into Star Wars and why I was a former actor and now I'm trying to get into writing, and Kees, since you actually were the one who reached out to Kevin and was able to get him on for the show,
this is true.
I will actually happily grant you the first question for our guest, whether it's
Let's do it. I'm ready.
or other
do
stuff
this.
related. Woo!
Well, one thing that we all noticed in our reaction is the moment that you appeared on screen, you were driven. There was a drive within you. You were like, I need to win. I need to hit every single question. And it seems that you have been studying a lot over the past couple of months. How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long journey. It goes back to what you guys said. The best thing that happened to me ever was when I didn't when I auditioned. So I'm friends with Rachel Cushy. I'm an editor for TV, like she is, and so we've worked on shows together and whatnot. And so there have been times where we were together on shows, and I remember like when she would host that show with Ken about Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, you're on there, like that's awesome. You know what I mean? And so. Going back then, and then I knew about the Schmoedown, but I wasn't a big follower of it. Because I was a big follower of Collider's shows. Like I watched all of like Movie Talk and Jedi Council, and a big fan of Christians and the Schmoes Know and stuff like that. And then I started getting into the Schmoedown, and then when she got on it, that really like ignited me. I started watching all of the matches, and then she actually invited me to go to a match, which is great. So I got to meet these people at Collider that I had been thinking about, or thinking about, that sounds weird, but just watching all of this whole time, And so then I kind of got the bug because, you play along when you're in the stands or when you watch it and you're like, oh, I kind of know some of these. My original idea, though, was actually I wanted to be in the Star Wars League. So I did the Patreon. So I knew I probably could have gotten an audition without doing Patreon, but I wanted to support the Patreon. And I think my idea originally going into it was like, hey, maybe I can be that success story. Like if I do the $300 Patreon for 2 months or whatever, or it was $200. I forget what it was. But 2 months for 300, or was it 2 months 150? It was 300 for 2 months. So I figured if I do that and I get on, then I think one of my earlier gimmick ideas was like I'd be like the Patreon People's Champion. So like, but that would be an automatic audition for other people because not advertisement, because I think then they would be like, oh, if he got on just by doing the audition, then I can, So that was the original thing. So, but originally I wanted to do Star Wars because I remember I watched the Star Wars Iron Man match and playing along. Again, the lights are totally different, but I remember like I hung in there for a while. I think I took a picture of the screenshot, and what we all do it on the reaction videos and stuff like that. But I remember I'm right in there. I should do it. So
I remember. I was about to say I couldn't do that because I was there in person. But
oh, you were there? Oh, that's right.
I played along at home, and I outscored Whitwer, who had the most after the first part was done.
The speed time you can't really at that point. Yeah.
No, you can't compare that. But at least I compare. That was something that I was looking forward to at that point. Like, hey, I can actually, for the most part, compete alongside them and see how good I am. And I was pretty satisfied, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that good too. Now I was always respectful. I was like, look, these guys are insane. But like the fact that I was in the conversation near the end where the speed round, I think I was only one down. So I was like, oh, like, and these are like the two, and so they're like the two cream of the crop. So I have my audition set, right? So it's 2 months. But for those 2 months, I was really studying Star Wars. And without getting into specifics, because I think I did, well, to say this, I did my audition in character, and that might one day come into play one year. So I don't know. I don't want to say what I did for the audition, and who knows what happens in the future. But and it was tough to do it in character. He even cited that later. He was like, listen, it's not easy to stay in character during the audition without getting specifics. So Star Wars was fine. I did okay. But I still would have gotten crushed. Like they were a little bit harder questions. And then he was like, why don't you do, and he was also like, well, they don't do a lot of Star Wars matches. Like, why don't you let's try you on InnerGeekDom. And so this is not an excuse, but literally I had not thought about InnerGeekDom. I didn't really, I watched Rachel's matches, but like, as far as me, I'll just say this up front. This is how bad at InnerGeekDom I was at the time. I had just saw Black Panther once, and one of the questions, it was the first question, which just, it derailed me. It was literally, what is the name of T'Challa's sister? Shuri, right? It's Shuri. Mm-hmm. I literally got it wrong. I blanked out, and that was the first time where it was kind of a lesson to me. I was like, well, A, I hadn't studied for it, but B, so then all of a sudden I'm going through these questions. I think another one, I mean, these were all from matches that then later aired. So I wasn't allowed to say anything then, but yeah, then I missed another gimme, and then I got a couple good deep cuts. But again, it was just, I think out of the first 10, I got only 6 right on InnerGeekDom, and with the Star Wars, I got 7 right. And that 7 out of 10, he was like, you'd get killed in the Star Wars, and then for InnerGeekDom, 6 out of 10, it was like, yeah, like I think you should study, and he kind of left it at that, and it wasn't like right there, you're not in it or anything like that. But it just, I didn't. If I was good, I probably would have had a shot, at being in there. But because of that, I didn't really hear from him. And then I got a message from Sandy and Christian that was like, hey, you should go to these fan leagues. This is where you should cut your teeth. I think and then you can kind of revisit it. And so that's how it began. And so then here's why I say all these stories is it was a humbling experience. Like, because I thought, oh, I know Rachel, like he's going to give me the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, if he did say, look, you're a little weak, let me get you 2 months to study, you'll get your first match in 2 months, I would have been prepared, because the way I study, I'm a crazy person. We can get into that later. But like, that said, he thought it would be a good idea if I go to honestly, I hadn't heard of any of the family. So Sandy sent me this nice message, and that was the beginning of that. And then the reason why I study so hard and why my knowledge, as far as they call it the minor leagues. I like to call it the fan leagues. I don't think it's a disrespect by calling it minor leagues, by the way, because it's the minors and then there's the majors. I know someone on the Facebook group had taken issue with that, and I understand where they're coming from. But look, minors, majors, doesn't matter, because the fact of the matter is there are people in the minors that get called up and then they kick ass. Like that happens in baseball, it happens in basketball, like everything. So, and there are some really talented people on the fan league. So when I got moved over there, like the anxiety I had, I was going to play in a 5-man match, which was in August, I think it was. And I remember in my head not knowing that Christian also respects how good the family players are when I just heard minor leagues. Meanwhile, I'm watching these other geek matches and how deep cuts they are. There's obviously a different, Schmoedown questions are hard in its core, but fan league questions aren't like easier. Just because it's the minor leagues doesn't mean it's any easier. It's the same level.
We know.
Kevin, for better or for worse, then I'm glad you hadn't heard of anything of that before about 2 years ago when.
Yeah, we did it.
Oh man.
Well, the thing is, Chris and myself kind of started this about 2.5 years ago, and back then. I say Chris and myself, but there were also a couple of other people involved. But Chris and myself really wrote the questions and hosted the matches that we started. And just back then, we wrote questions of the movies that we knew. But we made them really tough because we know those movies really well. And over time, we figured out we should probably make these questions a little easier. You should not write questions like, oh, I know it very well and I need to make it tough on myself. No, you need to write a question that someone else can actually answer. The moment that you realize that, your whole question writing changes, and we learn to write more fair questions and a little bit easier.
I would say easier is the wrong word, and accessible. You want the fans that are watching to be able. There was a question I'll never forget when I was studying. And I was like, oh, I'm toast. Because meanwhile, thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, I've been sent to the minors or the fan leagues. Christian's going to be watching. If I go in there and look dumb or stupid, he's going to be like, well, you're not ready for the Schmoedown, right? And so meanwhile, I'm watching a match where I think one of the questions was in Deadpool, and I could still not answer this right now. I'll probably never be able to. It was like, in Deadpool, what's the order of the limbs broken?
Yeah, I was the only one to get that correct.
That
was my match. It was nuts. It was completely nuts. And
I could not believe that. I wanted to, like, whoever asked that, I was like, for lack of a better term, screw you, pal.
I remember that question.
You can swear on this podcast. It's fine.
Okay.
I remember that question, getting that, and I was like, this is so difficult because I love Deadpool. It's one of my favorite comic book movies. I've seen it 30 times, and I still was struggling, like, is it left or right? Is it left or right?
It's right hand.
Oh, God.
Right hand, left hand, and right foot. And I was the only one to get it correct, and I was like,
someone get it wrong because they put like right elbow, like whatever. Yeah, it was crazy. So going in, like that was what I had seen from it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess because I had watched the Schmoedown matches, and there are tough questions there too. But that was like a tough question as well, like a really tough question. So I was like, all right, they go a little deeper dive. That's fine. And so without getting into specifics, I studied super hard, and then I got into the play-in. And then that's when I began my role in the tournament until I faced a brick wall, which was Robert Parker. He's just
we know him. We've all faced him.
Yeah, people call it, like in the comments I've noticed, they're like, Smets' debut. There was a couple of Ivan Drago things. I'm like, no, I literally, when I would tell people leading up to my match with Robert, I'm like, no, I'm playing the Ivan Drago of like trivia.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
You were. And now, granted, in regular movie trivia, I'm not scared of Robert Parker. In geek trivia, I am shaking in my damn boots. Sure. In regular trivia, I'm 2-1 against him. So
to the people watching at home who are wondering, well, why hasn't Robert been called up yet? Having talked to Christian, it's simply because it's too hard to fly Robert out to the studio right now.
It is.
So
Yeah.
so he's got to hold down the fort here until that Patreon money comes in and Christian can start doing more things with it.
I've told him this to Robert himself. Like, he's actually been really he was one of the first people that reached out after my plan, and we actually communicated. And then throughout my whole process, I knew that one day it was going to be me and him. I had that feeling. And then it ended up, it happened before the call. I really was hoping, because then I remember when I lost, they were like, oh, well, you'll play the other loser. I think it would have been Dom, and then I would have my rematch. And like my goal was, I would love to have the rematch with Robert, because that day, and there's no excuses, Robert beat me. Like, just going through the questions were very difficult, but as they should be that deep into the tournament. It was like right near Christmas, I believe, and like kudos to him. It was a win. He won convincingly. I'll never forget the question I lost on. Kills me to this day, but now I'll never forget, is who played. It was the 5-pointer. I would have been able to stay in it on the 5-pointer still and take the lead, but he probably would have gotten the other 3. But anyways, it was who played Uncle Owen in the original Star Wars movie, not the prequels.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I could wrap it off to you right now, real easy, but.
Yeah,
come on,
and
it's a perfect first round and the bonus points when you played along with me, Kees. See it. Who played Uncle Owen?
Okay, that would have been
5.
I
3.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Brown.
I know what.
Fucking Brown.
Yeah, Phil Brown.
Phil Brown.
Yeah, there you go.
Phil Brown.
I blanked on him.
Yeah.
Phil Brown. I was trying to memorize, like, I've seen pictures of him where he go to autograph signings and the name Phil Brown, Uncle Owen, and yeah, couldn't get it. So yeah, I lost. But anyways, I have gone out of my way. I said when I was coming in, I wanted to give love to the fan league. I wanted to incorporate that into when I was coming into the bigs. I like to call them fan leagues. I don't think it's negative to call it minor leagues. I got sent down. Look, I auditioned. Christian said I wasn't ready. I got sent down, and it's just when a pitcher has an off couple months, they'll go down and they'll cut their teeth in the minors, and then they'll get called back up. So I have nothing but respect for all the trivia leagues. Sandy, Jeremy, you guys, like, I mean, and you guys are all so, like, I remember one of my lines. It didn't make the cut because the new style of editing is great, by the way. I think the kid is so good at the promos. But I was saying how, like, I cut my teeth down in the minors. They're not minors. They're warriors down there, and they made me. I was trying to instill that, like, Rocky 3. Like, I went to Los Angeles and trained with Apollo Creed to get better, so I can finally beat Clubber Lang. So
damn, I now wish that had been there, but and. Yeah. Speaking of your character, walk me through for a moment how you created the Smasher, Kevin Smets.
Yeah, well, I know that as far as the Smasher goes, like, that's just a name. I mean, you want to find a good name that kind of goes along with the last name. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of rolls off the tongue. And as far as when I got to Schmoedown finally, like, I think one of my ideas, I kind of wanted to be like an assassin. And I mean, literally my idea was, like, I'm an assassin I have a chip on my shoulder and I want to take out everybody. I have a list. I want to take out everybody who was deemed more worthy than me. I think some of that made it, some of it. And so the original idea, but the assassin actually was a moniker that had been used before. There was also the silent assassin. So 2 times people had used the assassin. So
I actually used that nickname
he did.
When I started.
and listen, as someone who's a gigantic MMA fan, the assassin is the most overused nickname in the history of all of sports. So don't bother with that.
No, and you know what was one of the things I was worried about when Smasher was given to me was like, well, are they gonna? I thought I was gonna get it just obliterated, like Crusher is too much like Smasher and stuff. And literally, I think one comment so far has mentioned it. Like, it's been nothing but love in the comments, so that's been great. But as far as my character goes, so I came in there and I have a buddy, Kaiser. John Kaiser is his full name. And he's quite the character. What you hear and see on him, that is him. Like, I mean, toned up, obviously, to the 9th degree. But here's the world of the small worlds here. I work with Kaiser. He's a producer, and I edit for TV. And so the producer and editor, sometimes we're in the edit bay a lot together because we're trying to work out an episode or whatever together. And he knew about my audition. And he's actually small world. He went to college, or he's known Christian for 20 years. So I remember before my audition, I was like, hey, will you text Christian and tell him, like, oh, your boy is going to be ready. He's going to be good and stuff like that. So he kind of was invested in it a little too. And when I auditioned and then I didn't make the cut, he also felt a little bit of that. Oh, damn! Like my boy didn't even get Kevin, on the show. Like, and he knew how hard Kaiser knew how hard I was studying for the Star Wars questions, right? And he knew how hard that I was then studying in the Inner Geekdom to get ready in the fan league. So for him, I think he also took it a little personal, and so he literally was like, "Let me help you. Let's get ready, and like we should come back there. Like you'll get your chance." Like he was saying it like because Kaiser's very. He's gonna rah. He's like, dude, just win the fan leagues. You're gonna win the fan leagues. You'll win the title there. You're gonna take out everyone there, and then you'll go to Schmoedown and we'll take out everyone there. Like he is his character. So we kind of got in contact. We got together and we're like, well, let's have a fun dynamic. Like, let's just instead, I'm not gonna be the silent assassin. Like, I remember my first idea, I was gonna have a mask. I had I created like this art. Like I was trying to see what it would look like if I wore a mask and like full on thing. And then I was like, you know what? I love the idea of just the Smasher Smets. I love the idea that I can be myself. My main thing I didn't want to do, and this is crazy too, because a lot of the people are like, well, are you going to be in character the whole time and stuff like that? And I'm like, you know what? The most important thing to me is when I'm in the match, I need to be me. And for me, I can't sit there and, cold mug someone and be a jerk to someone or like be disrespectful. Now, if someone's giving it back and forth, like I'm going to give it back, right? That's the nature of the game. But I'm not going to go in there and, sit there and like be the Undertaker and not talk to Dave. With David Moore, just to jump ahead, is like the nicest kid you'll ever meet. Yeah. But is the nicest kid you'll ever meet in the entire world, right? And so like right before the match, I remember I was still going in like okay, man, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna go at you. Like I'm the heel. We're playing the heel. You're the good face. I'm the heel or whatever. And kind of because he was so nice, I wanted to let him know like afterwards when we were back behind. I was like, man, you were great. Great. How you hug it out and stuff like that. Nice. But during the match, I don't want to be like disrespect. I'm going on a tangent here, but so my character we came up with was like, let's just be these two guys with a chip on our shoulder. We don't know why Kaiser has a chip on his shoulder against Christian, but he does. And, he's coming in guns blazing. The first thing he said, and you can't hear it on camera, here's a little insight. Christian's saying in the match, he's like, well, you should have been here for the pizza. You should have been here for the pizza. I don't know if you remember that. It's right during their entrance. It's because Kaiser, first thing he comes in and he's talking shit. And he was like, yeah, nice craft service here. You got wheat thins for days. Or something. He said something funny. So he's going back and forth, but there's no mic on him. So we came in and then I was like, all right. And I stared down Christian when I did my entrance and then sat down. But then once the match went underway, I was like, I'm going to be me a little bit. I can't knock it. The kid got out of it. He should have been knocked out. And I missed 2003. I didn't know Hulk, by the way. I knew X2 and I knew Daredevil. Obviously, it was in the promo. How did I not get Hulk? But, I had to give the guy props. And I think for me, that was important that I was not going to totally jeopardize my character. You know what I mean? Like, even though I probably should play the character 100%. And so a lot of people on right now, they're like, oh, that's all we need is another heel from the fan leagues. All the people and I responded to one person today. I'm like, I'm not going to interact too much, but someone wrote like, oh, great, another unlikable heel. And I just wrote, I am not a heel. Literally, like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to beat anybody. If they give me a face or a heel to beat, I'm going to beat them. I'm not going to shake their hand before the match. I'll shake their hand after the match or I'll give them a pat on the back. Like that's just going to be my way. I want to go in, I want to beat him, and I want to get the hell out of there. I'm not sitting there trying to shake hands before the match. And he had that great one-liner, which made me break when he's like, it's Black History Month. Like David's good, man. We chatted afterwards once he gets those names. But yeah, so as far as answering, the character kind of came as a result of me and Kaiser. Kaiser kind of helped self-correct me. Like he really did. And like we talk about the trivia dungeon, he ain't lying. Like there is no one right now that studies harder than me. And it came from the fact that I had anxiety that if I didn't win these fan league matches, Christian would be like, well, if you can't win the 5-person play-in for a tournament, I can't have you on the Schmoedown. Oh, if you can't win the first round against Michael Campbell, I can't have you in the Schmoedown. Oh, you can't beat Eli, I can't have you on the Schmoedown. I was even worried when I couldn't beat Robert Parker. Like, that's it. Maybe he's going to take away my call. Like, that's why I studied obsessively so far. And I don't want to say, one of the reasons why I'm not going to go into specifics of some of the studying that I do is I literally have listened to podcasts of other competitors where they kind of go into it or like they reveal like David Moore. It's never going to come down to it. But I heard him on a podcast and he was on a podcast with Ken and he talked about how he doesn't like Harry Potter. He's like, I don't like movies with magic. And so literally I knew that in the back of my head, if I got an opponent's choice, I was going to give him Harry Potter. Like for me, I'm going to keep my cards a little close to the chest when it comes to studying. The only thing I can tell you aside is I am an editor, and I have ADHD or 80 whatever. I have ADD. I have to always tell the way I'm talking. I have to always be doing something. So when I'm editing, all the time before I ever did Schmoedown, I would have my laptop and I'd have ESPN on, or part of the interruption, all the sports reports and stuff like that. That's what I would do. Now, because I'm in the InnerGeekDom literally all day long, no matter what, and I have them all. Literally, I have almost all of the movies paid for legally, by the way, if not rented, the stickers. Literally, I have geek movies playing on in the edit bay all day long. So if you're thinking about that, I work 10 hours a day. Well, obviously when I'm really focused on the edit, I'll have to press pause, but I'm knocking out 4 or 5 geek movies almost every day, 5 days a week. So unless my opponent's able to do that, and then with, we all take notes, and I won't say my process of my note taking or how I retrieve all this information and keep it, but I just don't think there's going to be anyone that's as dedicated to me. And the great news is I can get that out of the way the same way I was watching ESPN. So it's not like I go home and I'll still watch a movie if I don't have plans that night, but I can still live a relatively normal life and literally study all day long. And so if someone's watching 5 movies a day every day, I'm on my 6th trip around the sun of all 190 movies since my audition in April when I got turned away.
Whew, 190.
Yeah,
good
that's
Lord.
What the real number is now. I have an Excel file and I have like a checklist thing. But yeah, I talked to Kaiser. I'm like, can I tell him my other secrets? Because and he's like, listen, I literally on the drive here, I stopped listening to you guys during my drive back. And I was like, what can I tell him about my study? He's like, listen, you just got to tell him that you work harder. You work harder. And Kaiser's been great too. He calls it the trivia dungeon. But yeah, we'll get some beers and we'll watch fucking horrible movies. And then he'll start quizzing me on, you know what I mean? And then we still work on the same show. So when he comes in, before we start talking work, I hope my bosses don't hear me. They're going to be like, did these guys watch movies all day? Or what are they doing? He'll come in, and he'll be like, all right, who did the score for fucking Barbed Wire? And I'll be like, Michelle Colombier. You know what I mean? Like, I know, it's just, the amount of knowledge that I know is too much. But then bringing it into the Schmoedown, I finally had my shot, and I knew I was going against David Moore, and I was like, I want to make a splash. I don't want to just go on. I thought about calling my shot for the perfect first round. I told Christian afterwards, I'm like, that's all I wanted was to get a perfect first round. And I was low playing it. You know what I mean? I got around 7 or 6 whenever Mark mentioned it. I really tried to tune him out. I didn't want to hear it. And then right when we got to the 9th question, or the 10th one that was for Sin City, I knew I had it, and I was beaming inside. I was like, yes, I got it. And then I couldn't believe that and then I landed on release dates too. And that's one of my strengths, by the way. So
yay.
Yeah.
Yes, Case and I love release dates.
We do.
Me, not so much.
Yeah. It's a difference of release dates for me. It's one of those things you can control. I can't control what you'll ask me from Lego Batman. That where he got the thing. It was the answer was Fortress of Solitude. I can't control what part of the movie he's going to ask me, so I might not memorize the whole movie. But if you're going to ask me the release dates, I know you're going to ask me when that was released. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah,
and
I get fired up. Sorry, I get fired up.
Oh no, dude, and to be fair, that's one of the other reasons I really actually am liking your characters, because that was actually one of the reasons that I love David so much. Because you both just have so much infectious energy that, of course, it just comes across on camera, and it shows both your guys' passion for being in this game. And, if maybe a year from now, when I'm finally coming through the curtain myself, I will be the exact same fucking way, because I have so much passion for this game, and I'm just so happy when I see both of you guys bring it in that same regard. Yeah. So
it's also being given something and then taking it away. Literally, I thought I had a meal ticket. Rachel is a dear friend, and she did it's not like she didn't do anything, she got me. I got to meet these guys, and then I had the audition, and Christian had every right to say I'm not ready. You know what I mean? And to have that taken away, it is a lesson that if you fall or you get beat down, you can work hard and you can climb right back on it. And honestly, if he said, yeah, come and you'll be in the tournament, the one that Mara kicked ass in, I wouldn't have done as well. You know what I mean? I texted Christian after the show released or whatever, and we were getting a lot of positive. As far as being a heel, I remember at the end of the day, I was like, oh man, they're going to hate me in the comments. And it's been really nice that they're not hating on me, which is cool, because we're not coming in to be a heel. It's just I faced the nicest face guy ever, David Moore. I mean, who doesn't love him? So it's, of course,
right?
that, But like I was trying to explain, like I'm not shaking hands. I'm in there for business. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna kiss babies when I walk into the ring. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna high five people. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna be respectful, and then I'm gonna get out of there, and I'm gonna keep winning and just get, you know. So.
Yeah, and so now to get with Mr. Ron for just 2 seconds. Now you mentioned you work on editing.
Yeah.
So when so what kind of like project, like how did you actually get started with that, if you don't mind my asking?
Yeah, no, I went to film school, and you know, I'm old. I'm dating myself here, but yeah, several years ago I went to film school, and like everybody, I had a really the designs on wanting to be a director, and you know, I had I did a Civil War movie in high school, in college, and then I wanted to do a feature based on the Civil War movie. You know, things go. You go to LA, and then you realize you're a PA, and it's going to take forever to kind of break in. And then, but my favorite aspect of the filmmaking process was always editing. I liked having that control. And so I kind of really focused on that. You know, film school can teach you everything you know, and then you get out into the real world, and then you realize the kid that's your boss is the one that didn't go to film school, but he was PAing for 5 years while you were getting your degree. You know what I mean? So it's like there was a lot of things to like to hurdles to jump over, and I was really blessed. And then my buddy Greg Schneider, who actually ties into the KOTOR story, why I did the KOTOR movie, he was my roommate, and I moved to Austin for a spell and kind of just went off course when things weren't going well for me. It's another reason that I just never kind of give up. Like I went out, I tried to do the PA thing. I tried to like, I'm going to show people my script, and it just didn't work. Like it didn't work out for me. And so I kind of, with my tail between my legs, I moved to Austin for a couple of years, partied for a couple of years, and like ran my friend's business and all this stuff. And then my friends were like, what are you doing? You should get back to LA. Like, and so when I came back, my new roommate, Greg, was like, he had an opportunity for a job. He literally passed it up. He's like, give it to my friend Kevin. He's an excellent editor. And that's how I got my first editing job. So I could never. That's why it's always about helping people. You know what I mean? I would, because that happened for me. He literally he wanted me back out of Austin. He knew it was a bad situation for me so much that I bought for $400 tires, and I drove back from Austin to LA, slept on his couch. I worked 2 jobs back to back. I worked for BET on a show and E! Entertainment on a show doing overnights, and literally barely slept for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then kind of settled in. And then, so I started editing, and that's my job. I edit. And I met Rachel Cushing on a show called R&B Divas, I think it was.
Oh,
and it's kind of like,
yeah.
R&B Divas. She's good. Yeah. And we were friends there. And then, like, you know, with editing, like, you'll be on a show, and I'll know Rachel and be close with her for like 3 months while we're on the show, because we're getting lunch together all the time. And then when you're not on the show, you keep in contact on Facebook and stuff. And then I think it was in between one of our shows where that's where she really started taking off and doing more stuff for Collider and stuff like that. But yeah. So I love editing. You get control of the craft. You know what I mean?
Plus, as especially for Kees and myself, 2 people who are very appreciative of editing, and hashtag Oscars. Thank you for finally fixing your little mistake you were trying to make.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It's brutal. That was the most ridiculous thing. There was a funny meme. I think it said I have it on my phone. It was a picture of the envelope, and then it said media offline. Have you seen that meme? It's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
I've just been seeing Meg Griffin memes.
Yeah, where did those come from?
Doesn't matter. They're glorious.
I don't know how, because it's on this whole thing. But yeah, it's like if the Oscar goes to it, it's media offline, and it's like, we'll fix it in post.
Funny. That's funny. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. So. Now, as part of your editing and as part of your career with that, you put together something I will say is quite an incredible feat. And I'm going to be completely honest, everybody here at home, the thumbnail was not clickbait. Okay, let's just get that clear out right now. Yeah. But because I wasn't aware until last night of your involvement with the KOTOR trilogy.
You knew it? You've known of the KOTOR trilogy? Really?
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing. But granted, this was about 3 years ago. So I need to rewatch the special edition now that all 3 of those have dropped. And
that's funny.
And as part of that, I I think I would like to see if we can try to get you back on in about 2-ish months. Because by then, because let's face facts, dude, with how much you've been studying for the Schmoedown, you will be going for the belt. You will be.
Man.
Damn well hope so.
Cheers.
So
Thank you.
I'm saying before then, I would like to get you and whomever else from the crew on this show to talk about that, because
Dude, listen, I told him he wasn't, like, one of my buddies actually, here, pop your head in real quick. So he lives in, real quick, before you come here. So when I started the movies back, like, in 2006, there was a couple super fans that would, like, communicate. And if you see the originals, I used the Xbox footage, and it was really rough. And then there's a couple super fans that kind of not latched on, but like really we gravitated to each other, and they had good ideas and stuff like that. And they all then became my close friends when they started working with me, especially on episode 3, because we actually had a premiere at a film festival out in Baltimore, and we all came. It was MagFest. It's like a video game.
Yep.
We played it on a big screen. We had the 501st, like they came out like with Stormtrooper stuff. Awesome. Yeah, and so these guys, this guy Brandon Twig, he's Darth Icy in your chat. Yeah, he's I call him Ice Magic. Like he has his own he did the KOTOR 2 trilogy. You probably are familiar. You might have seen. He did KOTOR.
I've seen those, and I have some thoughts, but I will save that for a different conversation.
Oh yeah, we can all sit down and talk about it. And then meanwhile, my friend Jenks lives. Is it Nebraska? Nebraska. Here he is, right here. He's visiting LA to get out of the fucking.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
He no joke right now tonight when we're done with this. I have an event down in downtown LA, and it's me, him, and Kaiser. And Kaiser's buddy from Rochester. We're gonna go paint the town or whatever. But yeah, so he's literally visiting. And there's he just got an email about the blizzard and stuff. I've always told him open door policy whenever you want to come out, because they usually come out for Star Wars movies, but there was not a Star Wars this December. So and then Brandon Twig, that's Darth Icy. He's in the chat. So these two literally are everything. Like I honestly as far as me putting together the scenes, these guys are able to literally open up the game like a toy box and set up like scenes however I want it. I'll do animatics, which have been on my channel, of how the camera angles are going to be and stuff like that. And then these guys could really recreate. Their cut scenes are better. And you kind of use the same technology, I think. I'm butchering it. That
it looked like it was running off the same game engine. So
yeah, exactly. And so not only that, like for this new one we're doing, and I can't believe Nico, we can't talk about the movies.
I'm sorry that the only
2003, man.
I'm sorry, the only thing I've seen are cut scenes from SWOTOR.
The far inferior follow-up.
Oh, yeah. So we literally, me, Jenks, and Darth Icy, and then we came together with now this guy, Greg Mitchell, who's a writer. He's written for Sci-Fi Network. He has published novels, a lot of horror novels. And we came together. We've had this outline for years about and don't worry, it's not about I'm not going to spoil anything, Nico. But you hear about this Darth Revan, and you want to know, where did it come from? You hear about the Mandalorian Wars. We literally have a script that's finished, and we're now under production. But literally,
Revan,
as this
Rogue
week,
Jedi.
I'll make an animatic, and then I'll send it to Jakes. And one of the animatics is of Revan in a bar talking on a hologram. And that's not in the game. We're in uncharted territory. So to explain, the KOTOR movies, we use mostly the KOTOR game and the storyline, and that was helpful. And we can create our own storylines and stuff. With this new one, we're going back in time. We're telling the prequels. So everything needs to be built. Literally, Brandon Twig, Darth Icy, is creating ISIS, which if you remember ISIS or ISIS.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be ISIS.
Yeah, they say ISIS.
Now. I don't want the FBI coming through here because they hear me shout ISIS. But ISIS has all ISIS has all these small little what are they called? Modules, right? Darth Icy, we call it IECs. He has built all of the modules together so you can literally walk, because we're doing these big scenes throughout the whole city, whereas the game you'd have load screens. He is literally building it together. He has to rebuild the lighting from scratch. We have ships. We're importing things from the MMO, like ships and areas. Everything for the Revan prequel is not in the game mostly. We have to create it from scratch, which is taking long.
Now, and speaking of, so
I can't believe you knew the movies.
I shall level with you here, Kevin.
You hated my movies.
No, actually, no. Now, granted, I mean, sure. Did I have some nitpicks? Sure. But
The non-canon face. I get that every day.
No. Fuck that. Sorry.
Are meaner than the Schmoedown troll.
Not to throw Case under the bus, but at times he has his moments of being a canon troll. But that's fine. But no.
But I do it. I do intentionally because look, I want KOTOR needs to be canon. It needed to be canon 5 years ago, but it's still not. And I'm like, God damn it, make it fucking canon already.
Yes.
So,
Whenever these trolls writing like why Revan? Oh well, I can't say. Nico, get out of here for 10 minutes. Okay? I can't say anything. I almost ruined the
actually
whole
no.
thing.
So actually no, Nico, would you mind taking off your headphones for just like a minute?
Second.
Here we
Thank
go.
you.
Ready?
Thank you. Okay, go.
So everybody's like, Revan wasn't a bald Asian guy. Revan Cannon is the long face from the MMO, and I literally copy and paste. I'll be like, dude. And it's so funny seeing me going. I'll be like, dude, Revan isn't canon. Nothing's canon Disney. And I said the main thing is KOTOR. The beauty is KOTOR is whatever you want him to be. If you wanted him to be a girl or a guy, like that's it. It's okay.
Exactly. I mean, yes. So now
you're good. You can put.
We're
I can't
good.
believe that Qui-Gon Jinn's in KOTOR. Oh, you're still here. Oh no.
Oh God. Oh shit. But no. So, as much love to Drew Karpyshyn as I can possibly give, he created the thing in Star Wars that I single-handedly hate the most.
Which is
The Revan novel.
Oh,
I
boy.
despise it. Why? One big fat fucking reason. The reason why Revan fell to the dark side. It's such bullshit. It's so insulting. I hate it.
It's like a I love the idea that I always thought that Revan turned because just the horrors of war, and you do everything you can to you're trying to save everyone, and at that same time you're losing yourself. Instead, he created in the novel this gimmicky like, oh, we're going out here, and you know what's funny? And Nico, I think you'll be safe for this.
He will.
Darth Icy's KOTOR 2 trilogy. I don't know if you saw the very last one.
Yep.
We actually trick everyone, and it's him. This is all Brandon Twig here. Trick everyone. We do show some of the novel. It's animated. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't want to get too farther into that.
And I was getting flashbacks.
Yes, but then the joke's on. Well, I guess is this too big a spoiler? What do you think? Say it's not. Look, at the end of that movie, we trick you into thinking we're doing a translation of the novel, and then nope, that's not what happened. That was all.
I was so happy when you did that.
In the chat, he's gonna be thrilled about that. Yeah, we were like, it was not a fuck you to Drew, but like a hey, look, that it's kind of like we were trying to like that had happened and the novel could happen, but that was all in Mitra's head, and now there could be new stories we could forge ahead.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because so you mentioned luckily your character that you play in Knights of the Republic was always whoever you want him or her to be. Yeah. So real fast, what was actually A, was Logan Starr your character, and B, what were your inspirations for your choices with him?
So funny. I have heard my Logan Starr is common. Logan Starr is Key and Peele, which Key. No, yeah, Key. I have heard Logan Starr is an Asian Manchu guy, like all the trolls and stuff like that. Honestly, when I first played the game, it was just I thought he looked cool. He was bald and he kind of looks tough, especially when he goes like when you make bad decisions, you start to turn to the dark side as Logan Starr or whatever. And I thought he just looked tough and stuff like that. So
your entire face gets fucked up.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine playing that game without that face. And literally, I wish I can go back in time just to save me from having every day to defend my choice, because I would go back in time like Stewie and be like, hey, Kevin, don't choose that guy. Choose the guy with the mullet head. But you know what? A lot of times people were like, oh, it's Scarface for me. And I had a deleted scene once in episode 2. It's still available on the channel.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Oh my God, I love that. I didn't know that. He comes in and then there's Scarface. And Scarface is like, you want to play Pazak? It's my game. And then Logan's like, I don't want to play with you. He's like, are you sure? Everyone wants to play as me. I think it's like a play on like whatever. But yeah. So that would literally, it was just, oh, he looks badass. And then when the movie started, I was like, well, I can't imagine not playing as him. So I got to play as him. And that was back in the Xbox days. And here's a funny story. This very Jenks. This is why he can come out here whenever he wants. He can stay here whenever he wants. So with episode 3, I have these side characters. One of them is called Bria Hudson.
Yep.
And Bria Hudson.
Bria, Kaden.
Oh my God!
What's the name of Bria's sister?
Bria's sister.
Oh no, sorry, no. I'm thinking
twin.
of a different chick. I'm thinking of the two sisters. No. Bria was the brunette chick. That's right.
Yeah, and so that was another NPC, or a PC player. And so I literally, when I did episode 2, I had to play it again to get to Tatooine, so then I can do split screen and like try it. It was all these tricks. Meanwhile, before these guys really came into their own, before Jenks and Brandon, Darth Icy, really came into their own about hacking the game, we thought episode 3, a lot of it was going to be on Xbox. And so who else is on Xbox? You have Kaden. I needed to get the Kara twins. So literally, Jenks had an Xbox, and this guy, which is why you could be at my wedding, you can do whatever you want. He played through the game literally and did save points and labeled it in like a spreadsheet of each for Kaden, for Bria, for the Jedi twins, and I think for one more random person.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Every time, because we thought when we get to the Jedi strike teams, we're gonna do like at the end, like I'm gonna nude everything, and guess what? Then they got good at hacking the game, or as I was call them hacking the game, but manipulating the game. And so when we finally got to episode 3, we for the original release, the special edition got rid of them. But I think we used the Xbox for like 4 scenes, 4 shots, and nothing. Like he literally, how many hours do you think you did playing that game?
Probably like 90, maybe
90 hours, and like
Jeez.
this Xbox is still here. He could take it home if he wants. He shipped it to me, and I had this Xbox, and I remember scrolling through all of the saved games, and I was like, "This is insane." He saved it like at specific points for every character. The kid played KOTOR and beat it with like 5 different characters, all within like a month because we were getting ready to start production. So kudos to you, Tank.
Jesus.
And we didn't use any of it.
That's that's crazy, and I.
We have actually gotten to that point.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten there because Case and I are of course working on our own adaptation.
I've heard that. I can't wait.
So and there actually is kind of like how you went about with your trilogy. It like because the plan is to do a 3-season show that combines both games into 3 seasons.
Wow.
12 episodes apiece, live action, roughly about an hour per episode, and like if everything goes how I want it to, this will be the largest fan production of all time.
Oh, so you're gonna shoot it too? You're not just. This is not like a spec script.
Oh no,
you're
no.
Shoot it.
No, he has plans.
Here's the thing.
Hey, I want to be someone. Cast me.
Gladly.
I just wait before anyone says anything more. I just want to clarify, Kevin. I'm not allowed to see anything of yours until these two finish writing the next couple episodes, and until Ryan gets back on the show, and we can all read the scripts together.
Yeah. Chris, was it episode 9 that we just need to get Nico to?
8.
I think it's 8. Okay. We just so that's just 4 more episodes.
Episode 8, what I think it is that why we're?
Yeah.
It
is what you think it is.
That's the thing.
It takes place on a certain ship. That's awesome.
Okay.
So
that's so good. It's better. Listen, the story. Christian said it on Jedi Council, and I agree with him. Like the story of KOTOR. You're in for a ride, Nico. I'm so jealous. And you know what? You're gonna get to like the game is one thing. And actually, we talk about like the Revan script, and there's if you think you know how we're gonna handle this, as far if you don't, but like sometimes I want people to read the script because as much as we're gonna get to translate it into the game movie machinima, when you read the script, you read it with like actors in mind, and it feels even more real, So like you're getting to experience the story through these guys' words, and that I'm just jealous. I wish I could, do a mind wipe and be able to see the whole thing.
Well, then here's what I'll do. So next time I'm in LA, which will probably be the next couple of months, I'll hit you up. We'll get lunch.
Yeah.
And I'll bring a copy of one of the episodes with me.
Yes, please do. I'm so excited when you guys and I'll listen. Once you guys start getting that underway, we have a very a fun fan base. They come out. We did a screening for the special edition of 3, and we did like the YouTube premieres. And I think like 90. You know, look, what we're proud of is we're not viral. Like, I mean, I'm not proud of that. I'd love it to go viral, but like for what it is, a machinima movie from a game from 2003. Taking itself so seriously, the fact that we get like 95 people in on a Friday night to premiere it, you know, or that we filled out a movie theater, we did an LA premiere here and stuff like that, like, is cool. You know, we get our haters. Like, this is why they were trying to tell me with Schmoedown, they're like, listen, you're going to get trolls, they're going to be mean and stuff like that. And I was like, listen, every day I get trolls saying like,
I was about to say, you are used to it at this point, sir.
Yeah, oh my God, for years I've said like, oh, what was the one game they like cited? They were like, it was like, we release it, we're all proud of it, and then like just the first person's like, this looks like something from Atari in 1970. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, that was one of my earliest things, by the way. It was a thrill. I got Rachel. The first time I ever communicated with Christian was talking about how much he loves KOTOR, and I gave Christian a copy through Rachel of KOTOR the movie, and he mentioned it on Jedi Council, which is a thrill to me. I geeked out. It was when they flew out to New York for one of the Comic Cons or whatever. He watched it and he said some nice things about it. But Nico, you're in for a ride. I'm sure you guys. It's from what I've taught. One of my earliest conversations with Kees is how much he loves KOTOR, and it's just such a small world that you knew of the movies too, Chris, and like the love that we have, like that just. That's awesome. Like, I could sit here and talk KOTOR, like Schmoedown, but I could talk KOTOR with you guys for 5 hours, and you know.
and that's why that's why I'm putting this part of the conversation on the back burner.
Yeah.
You will be back, sir. I will happily have you back.
Anytime you want to talk KOTOR, dude.
Exactly.
It might be right here. Hold on, just a second.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, where is it?
Surprises.
I was gonna bring my well, I don't have. Where's my? I have a Revan mask, like a legit Revan mask.
Yes, that's
that was
awesome.
my original idea. I wanted to come out to a Revan mask with my Schmoedown, but yeah.
Chris, breathe. Chris, breathe.
Breathe for a second.
Okay.
We had a full-on Revan cosplayer for our premiere at MagFest, and I bought the costume for the actor.
Okay, so that's funny you bring that up because I'm a member of the Saber Legion. They were just featured on Good Morning America. I've been a member for almost 4 years now, and I had to take a little time off last year just because money, time. I couldn't really afford to keep going, but now that I have a little more time, a little bit more money coming my way, I'm going to be getting some more equipment, and part of that equipment includes a full Revan cosplay.
You can have. Listen, if you need it for your show, you can have it. You can use it.
Well, I just hope that it'll fit my still thinning body because big shock.
Sit in that closet while I'm wrapping up here. Hey James, could you play KOTOR for 7 more times with different characters and we'll never use any of it? No.
By the way, regardless if you use it or not, just playing KOTOR 7 times is fucking amazing.
No, that's true. It would be like somewhere back behind all that shit. You probably know.
You know, and
this is why you can have it, by the way, because I can't even find the mask. So, like,
that's fair because you know I just hope that it'll fit a constantly shrinking body because obviously for this show. That I've been spending now almost 2 years writing.
It wouldn't be up there. It would be behind the others.
Obviously in very slow increments, but this is the show that's finally convinced me to take my fat ass to the gym and actually lose weight.
You're gonna listen, man. I think that's fucking fantastic. First of all, that's a good thing to get you in there. Like, it's coming from my coaching background. Like, you know, it's always nice to have something a target. Do you know what I mean? And what better way than to finish your it's fine, you don't have to worry about it. It's what better way to finish your script and then get to have that come to creation. So
exactly.
who's gonna be Cars? Because I don't want to talk about it.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because you've met this individual several times at the Collider Studio.
Mark Riley?
Roka
for Cars. Is he doing it?
Well, I haven't even mentioned this to him, but I want him. I want him. And the double reason I want him is there's a certain
Oh, yeah.
guy
Yes.
I want to cast as his son.
Yeah, Karth has a son in the
Dustle, of course, Dustle. That's not in my. Who, you?
No.
No,
Andrew Guy.
Andrew Guy.
Guy.
God. For Dustle? Guy
Well,
could be someone else. You can give Guy it. You can. Guy
well,
would be
and
good.
to be fair, the
Well,
only reason I
we
want it is
want
because
Bro-
of that
Brokaw
story, that
and
storyline
Guy,
in
yes.
Schmoedown where Guy pretended / is Roka's son, and it was. That's the main reason for that.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that would be fun.
Inside jokes.
Inside joke, and
Oh,
but
here
it's-
was the. That was our Revan holding a poster for our movie.
Cool.
oh.
And there's a couple Revan masks floating around. This was like really my favorite one. We would go in there. We would go into this MagFest, and they're usually like, it's more about video game music and stuff like that. And we had a screening, and we would literally litter the place. We made little 3D Revan masks, and it was just the Revan mask, and on the back it had the time. And for that year, anywhere you went, you would see Revan masks everywhere. I spent like $1,000 on like freaking 15,000 little Revan masks, and we were trying to do like what's the brand where it's like Andre the Giant's face, and you see it all over. Well, you see it all over. Look at Revan with a nice little family here too. It's like, hey, Revan, like he's taking pictures.
Oh, you mean like what should have happened in the Revan novel? Oh, sorry, did I say that?
Yeah. But I love that you love Twig, or that you saw at least Twigs, and you love that we said no, that's not how it happened, because that novel, and then just they did that, so then Revan would be a mini boss.
Well,
300
plus then they did Shadow of Revan for SWTOR, and that just further crapped on it. It's just like, oh, dude, what are you doing? But guys, we're actually gonna start to wind this down. But before we go, Kees and Nico, I'm gonna have you both ask our dear guest one last question. Kees, we'll start with you.
Oh, yeah. I don't have anything. Go to Nico.
Okay.
All right, fine, Nico.
What, you don't care about me? Thanks, man.
Okay, so
I didn't need to think.
I want to bring this back to the Schmoedown. You played a nearly perfect game, score-wise. Now, we've seen people do that before. We've seen Bibbs and Draco do that against each other, as a matter of fact. And then their second performances were kind of under par.
Yeah.
Now I doubt that'll happen to you, but I have a feeling that
Fair question.
if you get like one question more wrong than you got in your recent match this week, the trolls are going to be on you like wildfire. Just because they like that's all it has to be. It's like, oh, you missed 2 questions this time as opposed to the 1 question you missed last time, and they're going to be like, you're overrated. How are you preparing yourself for that kind of backlash? And like, because you obviously, having played the way you did this week, you have some expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
So just like, where's your mind at in regards to that?
My mind is absolutely at a level where it was within reach. It was between 2 and 3 movies, and I didn't get that perfect. That would have been a perfect game there. We wouldn't have gone to the 3rd round. It would have been a KO, not a TKO. I am going to do everything I can. My number one thing is it's me versus the questions. As much as there's strategy involved about assigning wheel and what you're going to do, the strategy for me, I did defer. I'd rather kind of, even though that puts more pressure on me, I had a feeling with David that he would miss a couple, and that would further my lead. I wanted to get a bigger lead going into my spin round. It depends. If we've called out Navarro. I don't actually have my next match set yet. I've called out Navarro. Hopefully, Navarro.
Hopefully he obliges.
Yeah, hopefully you oblige, man. And if he does, I know he's an expert at MCU. So would I defer, or would I try to land on MCU and take it away from him? But MCU is now much deeper. The questions are a lot harder when you land on that wheel, as opposed to if you land on Harry Potter. I can say this, and I can say this confidently. I'm going for a perfect round again. And so that means I'm going to get the first 10 right, and I'm going to get the bonus right. So I'll get 11. I know I'm going to get 11 points. Whoever it is, if he doesn't give me Navarro, Harloff, whoever he gives me, they're going to have to they're going to have to understand that I'm going to have 11 points at the end of the first round again. I'm not trying to call my shot, but I'm trying to say my expectation, Nico, to answer your question is I would like to get a perfect game. And in order to get a perfect game, the better shot I have is to end it early. So if that means I get a perfect first round, I'll probably defer again, and I'll try to steal a couple more and then be in a position on my spin round where I can end it in the second. And that would be my shot at having a perfect. And, if the trolls come out, they do. The one thing that I've learned playing in all these matches, playing along, back before the fan leagues, when I play along the InnerGeekDom, I'd always miss between 6 and 7 questions. I would. And then I started studying. And now when I play along to any of the matches, it's usually between 1 and 3 questions that I'll miss. So I have to have it in my head. I don't care what the trolls say. I have to have it in my head. Even if I miss the first 3 questions and now I'm on question 4, I know that that's usually the average that I'll miss between 1 and 3. I can't beat myself up about it if, that was my number one thing is, am I going to know the answer to the first question? What if I come with all this hype, me and my hype man are here, and then I bomb the first question because the lights scare me or whatnot? Like, I have to understand there's a finite number of questions I'm going to miss. I'm not going to miss much more than 3. Whoever I play, no matter what, I'll just look in the camera, whoever I play, I'm not going to miss more than 3 ever. So if you can play along when you play on your Schmoedown matches and you can win with not missing more than 3, then you're going to be right in the thick of it. But I would like to have a perfect first. I'd love to have a perfect game. Like I don't want to come in here and just win matches. I know I'm a nobody still. I love the fan support. I love that people are supporting us. I love that they're catching on. That I'm not trying to be in here and just to simply be a heel. I'm in there to beat people. And so I'm going to put myself to a high standard. And to answer your question, Nico, I'm going to study even more hard because the fan support that came with that, I put that on my shoulders. I don't want to let them down now. So because of that, they're not all, and you know what? It would have worked the same way if they all hated me and they're like, this guy sucks. He's going to have to prove it more. Like I would still work hard, but now I'm working hard for a different reason. I'm working hard because a lot of them have been so cool. And I really am thankful of that. Who would have thought that the KOTOR fans are worse to me than the Schmoedown fans are right now? Would have not guessed that a week ago. So I'm going to work my ass off. I'd like to get a perfect game. Out of respect to the other competitors, I don't think I would call it. I don't think in my pre-match interview I'm going to be like, I'm going to get a perfect first round. Like, I think I'm going to worry about my game, and I'm going to make sure, at the end of the day, I got to know the answers. It doesn't matter how well, if I'm across the table and it's Kalinowski or anyone else, they're going to know their answers too. But as long as I keep studying and doing what I do, I'm telling you, I can't get into the specifics of how else I study, but the fact that every day I am on my 6th trip around the sun with these movies. And the fact, like, when I find out, like, when my next match is going to be, I don't necessarily have my opponent, but I kind of know around about when it's going to be. The fact that I have this time to study and, like, I'm going to get to go around I call it around the trip around the sun, but I'm going to get through all these movies again. Like, are you kidding? Like, I'm going to be stronger for my next match than I was against David Moore. And then after that, I'm going to probably have another delay, and I'm going to be stronger for that. Like, the more time they give me, the better I'm going to get. It's not like I'm going to be, stop studying. And I'm obsessive about it. Like, I'm obsessive because I was there and it was taken from me. And I want to prove to Harloff, I want to prove to everybody that, and I want to respect the fan leagues. I want to do this for the fan leagues because everybody was so cool in the fan leagues, and I want to do it for them too. I like a lot. That. I was fired up about
I like that.
Awesome.
I like that. And I don't know if Kees is going to ask this, but I'll just make this one real quick. Your friend Rachel takes on Kalinowski tomorrow for the title.
Who you got?
Who you got?
And I got Rachel. I just know her work ethic. I know. I am a fan of Mike's actually. I love the way he conducts himself. I love the way that he's so gracious with the fans if you're at a live event, but he also plays his heel persona to a T. But he's also passionate about it. There was a post today on Facebook where he held up a picture of Plo Koon, and someone was like, "Oh, you just got that for the post." And he reminded them, he's like, "No, I got this on Force Friday in 2002 because I'm a fan of Plo Koon." And getting into it, being an InnerGeekDom, is these are movies. Everybody makes fun of me. They used to in film school that I loved everything. That's right. I mean, we make a joke about Daredevil, the 2003 version of Daredevil or whatever. I actually like that. The only movie that I hate that qualifies as a comic book movie, it is the worst movie ever, is R.I.P.D. Ripped. It's with Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges. It's 2013. Robert Schwenke directs with a score by. Hold on, I got it.
I want to debate with R.I.P.D.
Robert Swanky directed with the score. Listen, I'm blanking out here. The bright lights have gotten me. But yeah, that is a horrible movie. But I love all the geek movies. I've always been way more forgiving, and so it's been able to help me be able to watch these movies over and over. You know what I mean? Like, So. Oh my God!
Awesome. And Kees, one final question for our guest.
Yeah, I suddenly came up with something because obviously you like the geek movies, and obviously you love Star Wars. But besides Star Wars, like, what is your favorite franchise?
Growing up, I was a big Civil War buff, so like I loved Glory by Ed Rick, James Horner. That music, the music in Glory, absolutely kills me by James Horner. Like it's my favorite. I love, and that said, I love The Last Samurai too. Like I guess I'm really a big fan of Ed Rick. And I would say outside of the geek properties, I love Dumb and Dumber. I mean, who doesn't love Dumb and Dumber? Yeah.
We landed on the moon.
Yeah. How about you guys? What would you say? Are you talking about franchise? I mean, there's so many.
Well, yeah, it was essentially just besides Star Wars, a geek franchise that you love.
A geek franchise. Oh, you know what's funny is I'll go through, like, I literally have an app. I mean, I guess it's another beyond the curtain. I have an app that has all of the mixed bags DC movies, and it keeps track of how many I've seen, and I can see. But it's funny. So I'll go through one series and I'll be like, I plan it like before my next match. Once I know the date, like I know I have to get through this. And no matter what, like I have a series of movies that I watched before. And I'm sure you guys can guess because everybody should do it and they don't. But I have a series of movies that I watch literally every time. The 5 days leading up to my match. And I've done it for every Fan League match. I'll do it for every Schmoedown match. It's just the way that when I come in there, that information is the freshest to me because that information is really hard to digest. But sometimes I'll watch and this is not the one I'm talking about, Harry Potter. And then when I'm done, I can't wait to get done with Harry Potter. And then like a week later, it'll go by, or after my match, when I usually take a couple weeks off, I can't even stand to look at a geek movie. And I'll be like, I kind of miss watching those Harry Potter movies. Like you find yourself missing it because I'm so used to watching them every day. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I love the DCEU. I'm kind of rude. Everybody's gonna hate me. I love Batman vs Superman, the extended edition.
Jeez.
I know. There's my geek cred there. The score, the music. I use a lot of it in my KOTOR movies. The score that Junkie XL did.
I have noticed that.
With you had Man of Steel with Hans Zimmer, and then you had Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer for Batman vs Superman. And the fact that Justice League, there is a score that Junkie XL did. It has been confirmed. Junkie XL finished his score, which would have built on the themes from Man of Steel, which would have built on the Batman themes from Batman vs Superman, and the If You So Love the World, all those themes, it would have added that. And the fact that when Joss Whedon took over, he scrapped it and was like, oh, let's have Danielle. And we all geeked out. We heard the 89 Batman theme in there. But like that Justice League was ruined for me because I knew that there was a Junkie XL theme there. And the music for the DCEU, I just love.
The music is great. I'll give you that.
You know what? And no, in that regard, I definitely can't argue because literally, sorry, man, but there's only one DCU film that I personally like, and that's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, great.
But to be fair, I love it.
Yeah.
And
did you like Man of Steel?
I love Man of Steel.
I wanted to drink myself to depression when I saw that movie because
really?
Superman's supposed to be hopeful and the world is getting literally ripped to shreds and it's just sad for me.
Like 8, 9, 11.
I'm not that harsh on it. Like no, for me, my main problem with Man of Steel was it didn't grab as much of my attention as something like The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins did, and because I had the expectation of like Nolan level storytelling, and I didn't get that. It really bummed me out, sadly.
Yeah, and it is fair. One thing I'll say, I respect everybody. I don't like when people push their agendas or you're an idiot if you know what I mean. Like
fuck those people.
I own it. I'm not a fan of Justice League because of the way when you go back to Smallville and you don't hear. When you go back to the Kent farm and you don't hear the piano theme from Man of Steel, there's a director, by the way, if you want to search it, literally now when I rewatch Justice League, and it's probably not good because he does make his own cuts, which might not help me for a Schmoedown match one time when they were asked a question that he cut it out. he does a re-edit of Justice League. And right when Superman is resurrected, from there on, he has enough videos on his channel. You could literally watch it, and he replaces the score with music from the first movies, like with the Hans Zimmer Junkie XL movies. And it's A-B director, A-B as in A as in ass, B, yeah, A-B director. He literally, if you watch some of these clips with the music, you're like, oh, and then it feels more part of that, yeah. So I recommend it. Shout out to A-B director. He actually used to do KOTOR movies too. So.
Oh, well, how perfect. Yeah. So, damn, wow, holy crap. And just think, guys, I want for a minimum another 2 hours with this guy, but unfortunately, it is starting to get a little late over on the Midwest and East Coast, and for Case, it is.
What are you talking about?
We got to talk about our mutual love for the Netherlands too. That was one of our. Yeah, I've been to the Netherlands 3 times in the last 18 months. I have friends that live out there. Love it. I wish I could live there, to be honest. Like right here behind the poster. Well, it's one of those sets of 3. It's like 3. Well, it's like one of the canals in Amsterdam.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, holy shit. But yes, guys, thank you so much to everybody in the chat for keeping the chat going for the last 2 hours. And thank you for tuning in to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. Kevin, this was an incredible honor to have you on the show. And yes, like I said, we're going to have you back on, and make sure that when you do inevitably get that title shot match, that's what I want you back on, so we can also talk to whoever you can wrangle up from the KOTOR movies, and I want to talk to them. I want to talk to Darth Icy. I want to talk to, Jake, was that his name?
Jenks, Stephen Jenks.
Yeah. Okay, Steve. Okay, yeah. So, and I want to talk to him too. And
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. That's rad. The love of KOTOR. I'm excited about Schmoedown. I thought that would be the exciting thing I would talk about. And then when I saw the thumbnail you made with KOTOR, I was like, hell yeah, we get to talk about fucking KOTOR? Like, you kidding?
Absolutely. And you know what?
Kind of obsessed with it.
And Nico, you too. You're gonna love KOTOR. You'll see, pal.
Yes, he.
All right, I will love KOTOR.
I was about to say he's already like
we're donated. Had I known you hadn't seen KOTOR, I want my money back.
Well, and to be fair, I actually just read through my 3rd episode, the first draft of episode 3 of my show with him, and he's digging the show, and I'm so happy about that. Finding a new audience for this game that I love, that you love, that Case loves, and that so many other fans across the world love. But until
it needs to be canon.
Yes,
it does.
and that's what I'm working on. So and to be honest, dude, you know that if you want to talk shop and like maybe have you pitch, maybe let me pitch my idea to you.
Yes, dude.
Give me a call sometime. So
absolutely.
So
you guys, all 3 guys have been great, and I appreciate. And I watched the reaction. I appreciate the nice things you guys said. I'm overwhelmed by the positive reaction, and I'm really excited about the rookie class across the board. I think Paul was amazing too in his debut, and I was at the match that they just posted. I guess we're not allowed. It's live, so it's 24 hours. But the rookie, he did well too. I mean, he's a cool dude. And Kaiser knows everyone. Kaiser actually knows that guy. Like when he was there, he's like, I know that guy when he was on stage. Like, so Kaiser knows everyone. We're excited. He's, by the way, he's not here obviously, but he's excited too. He's having a lot of fun with this. I think we just want to have fun and go out there. I mean, it can get pretty serious when you're on set there, and so it's nice to come in. And the other thing I forgot to say, we're trying to bring that era of like 80s, 90s rock and roll wrestling. Like, we were trying to just be a little larger than life in our persona. Because sometimes you can really blur the lines, and we wanted to just we want to be ridiculous. I keep saying I'm not a heel. I mean, I'm not a heel or a face, but like we want to have fun, and some of the best heels ever. The Brain, like he was funny in defeat, and he was funny in victory. Like we want to be entertaining, not just. We're not trying to just be the tough guy. We're getting a lot of things like, oh, he's like Goldberg and like Brock Lesnar. Like we want to be a mixture of all of that into a blender, but we want to be the smasher. It's like original, you know what I mean? So That's what we're going to go do moving forward. And we're going to get even more ridiculous with our promos. And, I got I'm trying to push on, I guess this is exclusive for you guys. Like the hoodie thing is going to be kind of like an ongoing thing, but it's not going to just only be black. Like I got a sick geek centered hoodie for my next one. So it's going to be awesome. My next match. So.
And so until we see you in your next match, which can't come quickly enough, where can the good folks find you online?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Kev Smets. It's on the match 2 on the bottom corner thing. And then at KOTOR_trilogy. And then that's the same for Instagram, the same thing, at Kev Smets, at KOTOR_trilogy. If you type in KOTOR Movie Trilogy group, we have a Facebook group and we have a Facebook like page. Both of them you can join. We have a Discord channel for KOTOR 2. I can get you guys, just send me a tweet at Kevin Smets, and I can get you guys an invite to the Discord. There's always good conversations in the Discord channel. Nico, you should stay away until you've seen. You're not welcome.
Ryan, we need to read episode 4. Get your ass back in here.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can find me there, and obviously the YouTube channel. I gotta get an easy www.KOTOR Saga, but if you just type in KOTOR episode 1, A Familiar Path, or KOTOR Movies, you're going to find us at the top. Any of them that say special edition, I got to give it to Jenks. Jenks was the lead of the special edition. Like, I didn't have time, and he's literally the one that spearheaded that whole thing. And also him and Twig did episode 3 special edition. That there's a famous shot. We had a teaser for it. I know we're going over. Sorry, I'm going to be late. Oh my God, I'm delayed here on the YouTube thing. I told him right before release, 3 days before, I'm like, what would be really cool is to do the shot of the Millennium Falcon from the Force Awakens trailer, but like have it in the Starforge battle at the end. And 3 days later, he did the shot. And if you go to our channel, I did it before and after, and you can see it. So
it's pretty cool. It is there. It is totally there. Nico, where can the good folks find you online?
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Nico Regoli. That's NicoSuaveRegoli. Right here, I'm dedicated to art in all the places that you two will probably say in the next few minutes. You can find me over on Combat Wrestling Network, where we do combat wrestling trivia. It's a new channel, but if you like wrestling trivia, go there and help us grow. Facebook group as well. You can also find me on Multiplex Entertainment. That's the name of the Facebook group, and the YouTube channel. The Twitter is at MultiplexYT. The Instagram is Multiplex Entertainment Network. The TeePublic is just Multiplex. Buy our awesome shirts. Zaddy Smith and I host a show every Wednesday called Crisis on Earthplex, where it's basically our Collider Heroes. So, or at least that's what it's trying to be right now. So watch that. And one last time, thank you to everyone who donated to Thon, especially Mr. Kevin Smets over here. Thank you for helping me raise. Thank you for helping me raise all that money and helping all those kids in Hershey, in the Penn State Hershey Children's Hospital. We've covered a lot of their care for while they're ailing, so we just did a great thing. And one last thing, if you know where I can get a Hiccup How to Train Your Dragon 3 inspired costume, I would like that very much, because that armor looks badass, and I'd like to start cosplaying a little bit. So yeah, just hit me up if you know where I can get some of that armor.
Oh boy, that's a terrifying mental image. But in the meantime, Case, where can the good folks find you online?
You can find me on Letterboxd and Facebook, Kees Cornelisse, on Twitter at That's Movie Guy, on Multiplex competing in a TV fandom final one time. I don't know exactly when. And facing Dominic Rizzi in a number one contender match on Fandom. Dominic, I've beaten you twice. I'm going to do it again, just like I did in that last number one contender match, and then I'm going to face Robert Parker for the title. So, yeah, that's going to happen.
Nice.
Look for that whenever that finally happens.
That's that fire.
And that's
Love it. Hell yeah.
And, of course, you guys can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, and Letterboxd at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page and go to my personal YouTube page. Check out all of my songs for Collider Live. I'll probably be working on a new one for next week. Yay! As well as some original music I have coming in the next 2 weeks. Yay! And, of course, always stay tuned here, because we always have our Star Wars Resistance recap show, Viva la Resistance, and we also have our Schmoedown reactions, as well as any other reactions we got coming up. And, yeah, I'm not kidding, guys. This is, like, this KOTOR idea I've had for the last couple of years. This is slowly becoming my life, and I will do everything in my fucking power to make it a reality. Just like this motherfucker did, Kevin. Hats off to you. And to everybody else in the chat, thank you for keeping the chat going. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on the replay, comment there too, please. And tweet out the link. Tweet out the show. I would greatly appreciate it. But until then, all you motherfuckers know what to do. Take care!
Yeah!
Yeah! Good time. Dude, I could talk KOTOR for like